This is Rashida.
Yes, I was wanting to know the status of a child abuse report number.
You want to know the status, you said?
Yes.
Okay. Who am I speaking with?
Kiana Clark.
Okay. And what do you mean by status?
Well, I reported a lot of multiple parties are conspiring to hinder my child custody rights as a parent. And I reported past abuse, and my child custody rights were taken away out of corruption. There was no evidence of any abuse, and it was slander, and it's easily proven slander that I've been communicated to a lot of parties. I'm on supervised visits with Family FLP. They're refusing to give me the supervised visits. Multiple parties have conspired to keep me away from my child. She said someone hit her. The police will not investigate who hit her. And I did a report, and I was wanting to know the status of who hit her. Because in my abuse that I've been experiencing, multiple parties have assaulted me, threatened me in schemes, attacked me in multiple things that the police would not take reports for and cover for, and it was on camera footage. I don't know that. I'm not sure that that's not what's going on with my daughter. So I'm concerned about who hit her.
Okay, do you have the report number?
Okay, one moment. That number is 763 01613.
763-01613?
Yes.
Hold on just a minute, please.
Okay. Yes.
Thanks for holding. Okay, so I found the report number you provided. And the status of that case is the case has been investigated. All parties have been interviewed, and the case has been closed.
Okay, so how do I combat why James Hastings made false statements, and why it's not investigated that he made the false statements that can be easily proven, and why the family FLP is hindering my child custody rights, and what happened when she was hit?
Well, with regard to that, our department does not investigate statements or actions made by adults that are not directly related to current abuse or neglect of a child. So you mentioned your child being hit. That was investigated. So anytime there are allegations that a child is being physically abused or harmed in any other way, we do investigate that thoroughly. Which is part of the
what happened?
process.
I'm the parent, and multiple parties are not giving me access to my child out of corruption, and covering for the hindering the child custody rights being hindered, covering for James Hastings and Regina Harris out of Waco, Texas, making false statements, covering for the fact I had a false arrest and my daughter witnessed it, screaming in terror. So there's evidence that multiple parties are scheming together to sabotage my rights. I don't know why CPS wouldn't investigate that. Because hindering a child custody agreement is a felony, the police refuse to investigate it. And why won't CPS investigate their own caseworker, James Hastings, that lied to sabotage my child custody rights and then evaporated out the picture? And why there's 30-something reports that haven't been investigated? And then now this is the first investigation, and it's clear what happened when my daughter got hit, because I'm concerned.
Ms. Clark, the department can and will investigate whenever.
What happened when my daughter got hit? I'm concerned. I'm a worried parent.
No.
What happened? What happened when my daughter got hit? Who hit her?
Clark, if you want to ask me 10 questions, but you won't let me answer one, this conversation will not go far. So, will you allow me to answer?
I just want to know.
Your 10 questions?
I want to know what happened when my daughter got hit. What happened when my daughter got hit? Because I'm concerned her safety. What happened?
When did your daughter get hit?
I'm sorry?
When did your daughter get hit?
That's what the report was about. The number that I just gave you, reporting that my daughter got hit in the corruption, and the police wouldn't investigate it. Where did you guys go investigate it?
When did your daughter get hit?
Okay, let me look. You went out to investigate her getting hit and you don't know?
Ma'am, when did your daughter get hit?
One moment. Let me look it up. It was April 19th.
April 19th,
Uh-huh.
2022.
Right.
So your daughter was interviewed just this week, the week of May 16th, 2022, and there was no outcry of child abuse or neglect. So your child did not.
I'm not quite sure why that you guys did not investigate who hit my daughter, why she sent me a text and I showed evidence to police, why I sent a request to figure out who hit her. Why I don't understand why multiple parties are denying the investigation.
I provided an answer.
Why would CPS refuse to investigate who hit my child and have the answers? If you interviewed her, did you find out who hit her?
So, Ms. Clark, help me understand this. If a child is interviewed and a child does not say they have been harmed in any way, despite being asked about it, despite being in a neutral environment, then what do you suggest our department does? Because children are very vulnerable. So now your child, because you have voiced concerns, your child has been interviewed by multiple strangers. Your child has been taken out of her classroom multiple times. Your child has been put in very precarious positions, going into rooms alone with different interviewers, male and female, person she does not know. She's been asked to have her picture taken. She's been having interviews recorded because it's law. It's the law that we are required to record.
Ma'am, I think that we're bypassing it because I think that it's like gaslighting in a manner. Because I know that you're pressed for I know that you're pressed for time because multiple times without getting anything resolved, people have to go. I think that you're twisting it to make more of the report being more problem. I would like to communicate, ma'am. I would like to see the role of CPS. I think that you're twisting it and making the reports more problematic. I would like to concentrate on the abuse and who hit my child and why CPS would not investigate it.
Needs met. You have no desire to see your child's needs met. You're only worried about your own needs. You're not thinking about how she's being affected by this.
I think that's a form of gaslighting because I don't understand why CPS would not be interested in who hit her and finding out about it. And I did the reports, and I don't understand why CPS would not be aware of what happened with 30-something reports and not be concerned about a caseworker committing a crime and making false statements and how he erased out the picture. And I don't understand why CPS will not find out why Family FLP would not give me the supervised visits that were obtained out of corruption. These are multiple crimes that CPS is refusing to investigate. I did communicate that the police had falsely arrested me in front of her when she was 8. In some kind of way, you're more concerned about the interviewing process and her experience in that instead of how it feels to witness your mom get violated and multiple parties cover for child abuse. That probably doesn't feel very good.
You're worried about what her mom is going through and not necessarily what she is going through. I understand now.
So, as I've reported, I mean, if you're trying to gaslight me and mistreat me in your child protective services instead of trying to protect my daughter, because I did say that she was witness police arresting me at 8 years old, that's traumatic. She's supposed to be getting therapy. They're not doing that.
Traumatic. That's a good word. You are traumatizing your daughter, I believe, by putting her through this multiple times. You should consider that, honestly.
Okay, so CPS is refusing to investigate who hit her?
I already told you, investigated. We interviewed.
Who hit her? Who hit her?
What?
Who hit her?
Well, now I will tell you this. You do have a right to request records if you are a custodial parent and your rights have not been terminated. So we do...
I don't know. Have they been terminated? I don't know what's going on. People withhold things.
Well, listen, I'm telling you, you have a right to request a copy of the investigation. We do.
You said if your rights haven't been terminated. Have my rights been terminated?
Can I finish? If you request the records, you will have an opportunity to see that a full and thorough investigation was done, interviews were done, and you can find out if anyone hit your child, including yourself, whether or not she disclosed that you may or may not have hit her. But I will not say that she did or did not say that. I'm just saying you have a right to request those records.
Were my rights terminated?
You want me to look that up? Is that what you're
Yes,
asking?
yes.
All right, I'm going to place you on the hold, okay?
Okay. So I'm trying to report to find out who hit her. And then she's flipping it saying who will to investigate if you may have hit her. And I don't even have access to her. But I mean, it was really, really, really abusive in the past. They were saying something. That's why I went to the police department, because you don't talk to a parent the way that they were talking to me. Calling multiple times a day, taunting me, harassing me. I would have to go to the police department, who covered for it and gave me a criminal trespass to prevent me from reporting any further crimes. But my amazement in the situation, I guess I shouldn't be amazed. I guess it's just the everyday part of the society today. And I'm just learning that that's just how this world is. See, Child Protective Services does not have to protect the child anymore, and will not. Yes.
Thank you for holding. So I don't see anything in the system. I did a quick check. Not a very, because as you mentioned yourself, because you seem to know very well, I don't have a lot of time to spend on this. But just in my quick check, I did not see anything showing any legal rights have been terminated. But you can also verify that yourself. I can provide you with information on how to request records. Per our last conversation, I did send you information in the mail on how to request an administrative review of investigative findings. I said I would, and I did. So you can expect that.
Okay, so what are the programs to get the investigation for the caseworker that made the false statements to the Child Protective Services? And multiple a CPS worker calling me, harassing me, and taunting me for my child custody rights supposedly getting taken away, but you don't show that they were.
So the Office of Consumer Relations, that's who governs our department and our staff members. So you can make complaints or put forth your request to that department. And then the administrative review of investigative findings is where you can dispute any conclusions to any investigations.
What's that number?
That's what I sent you in the mail. But
I don't get my mail. I have a card that I have money on it that I can't get. I have things from the district attorney that I can't get. Things from Eternal Vision I was supposed to be sent and haven't received months back. I don't have rights to my mail. I don't have a lot of civil rights, so I don't get the important, vital things in the mail.
One moment. Phone number is 1-800-720-7777.
Okay, but you as a supervisor investigator can't report that your caseworker made false statements, that multiple conspirators are hindering.
My caseworker did not do that. When our department got a new case.
I'm just trying to see since I finally got an investigator, I've made 30-something reports and haven't. I'm trying to see what you guys can recommend outside of just calling this number. If you're aware that you have a caseworker that made false statements, a family court would not take child abuse reports, or the police department. I went to the Family Violence and Child Abuse Division. They would not take the report and evidence of the abuse. So I'm trying to see what I can do if you have information about a caseworker making false statements to intentionally hinder my child custody rights, and police deny an investigation to figure out who hit my child and ignoring the texts that were on my phone. If my child cries out for help, I don't understand why multiple parties would cover for whatever happened to her. And I thought Child Protective Services would assist me in figuring it out and not try to flip it and say that possibly it was me that hit her. If I hit her, then it wouldn't make sense for her to text me on my phone and tell me she was hit.
Okay, two things is fine. I made a mistake. It's not called the Office of Consumer Relations anymore. It's actually called the Office of Internal Affairs. I see on our website.
I'm asking what you can do, ma'am, as a supervisor, because I've went most.
I just wanted to correct that. Calm down. I'm sorry. I just wanted to correct that. The second thing is, I only have 6 staff members who are under my direct supervision. One of them is Investigator Cheever, whom you have spoken with. So if my investigators, who are under my direct supervision, engage in behaviors that are unprofessional,
I was asking what you can do, what you can do as a
questions,
supervisor to assist
then
me
I
in
can
reporting this
ask on that.
chaos. Can you help me
As far
report it since I can't report it for years? And you're an investigator, a supervisor? What can you help me do since I tried to report child abuse and law enforcement is denied for me and my daughter for multiple crimes that happened to us?
Wait, did you ask me if I can help you report it?
Right. If your child protective services and the police are covering for whoever hit her and multiple other parties, police are covering for James Hastings and that number because I called and they won't call me back. So as a supervisor, how can you help me, assist me with getting the people the consequences they deserve for covering up for child abuse?
Too many different things.
I just wanted to know what you can do as an investigator since I finally got one after 30-some reports have been made and ignored. Since I finally got an investigator, we haven't got anything that you're able to do to help combat a lot of corruption. And normally police don't cover for a 12-year-old child getting hit.
Ms. Clark, there are certain things where you're asking for too many things that go way outside of my scope. So if you want to stick with just DFPS stuff, Department of Family and Protective Services stuff, then yeah, I can assist. If you want to go into the realm of the court systems and law enforcement, police departments, then no, absolutely not.
Well, can you report it as CPS? If you're an investigator, can you report that my child has been exploited as well as myself? And that she got hit by a mysterious person and it's on my phone and no, everyone's refusing to investigate it? Can you report that family FLP is denying me the supervised visits? And with the court, people cannot make up their mind if my rights were taken or not. At one point, I did think I was a legal custody. I want to tell you what's going on, ma'am, because that has been stolen from me. At another time, a court told me that my child custody rights weren't taken away. So I thought I was a legal custodial parent, and I kept reporting it to the police, and they would not investigate why I could not have access to my daughter. Then it changed. To my child custody rights were taken. So the court couldn't make up their mind on if I was a legal custodial parent or not because they were hindering my child custody rights. So if someone is incriminated, then I'm the legal custodial parent, and then it's been fluctuating. And I tried to report it to the police.
Yes, I'll help you. We can figure it out. We can figure out how to make all these complaints and how to complain to the court, how to report the police department. Yeah, okay, let's do it. So first you want to make a complaint against CPS for the not following through. So I would venture to say then, if you want to complain against CPS for not following through.
Are you able to do a complaint if you witnessed it? Or I'm asking if you can do anything, you as a supervisor at Child Protective Services, what you can do instead of having me do it because it's denied for me. I don't have civil rights. So I was wanting to know if you can report to someone, a party in Child Protective Service supervisor, to get someone that can interrupt this chaos that my daughter and I have experienced, multiple parties for covering.
I don't have to complain. I don't feel like there was anything wrong, so it has to be from you.
Well, you were refusing to do an investigation for James Hastings. It's clear cut and clear, but he has disappeared. He has made false statements. Why did the family court take my child custody rights away? They can't make up their mind if they did it. You're refusing an investigation to see if these allegations are true, like multiple other parties. It's clear cut. It's not up for debate that these people are committing crimes to sabotage. You haven't called family FLP to see why they're denying me supervised visits. And your Child Protective Services, and that's what Child Protective Services does. They keep the parent, I thought. So you have not just said that you were going to call family FLP and find out why they're sabotaging my rights as a parent and hindering my child custody rights. You haven't called the court to see if they can't make up their mind if I have child custody rights or if I don't. You have not called them. You haven't called the police and investigated why the police would interfere and sabotage a report for someone hitting my child. And you yourself did not do an adequate investigation with text on my phone, her reaching out saying that she was hit and multiple parties covering for it and won't investigate it, including yourself. You did not give me any education on who hit her.
Me to take all the steps, do all the calling, do all the work on your behalf.
Ma'am, you're not listening. They're not listening to me. I've communicated that with you. It's two multiple parties covering for the child abuse and my abuse and the exploitation that we've been underwent. So, or I'm asking for you to do that. Is your job responsibility as a
No, it's not.
supervisor? So you don't investigate child abuse?
Well, you're basically going to file a complaint against me because you're saying that I'm not investigating.
Do you investigate child abuse? I thought you were investigator supervisor.
I just told you we investigated.
Well, you don't know who hit her. You didn't do a proper job. Who hit her?
So now you want me to file a complaint against myself because I just told you we investigated. Is that correct?
I mean, it's like this is intentional, ma'am. Who hit her? That's what I did the complaint about, to figure out who hit her. And are you covering for the mom hitting my daughter, the stepmom?
No. You want me to go file a complaint against myself? Is that what you're asking me to do?
I want to know who hit her. If you investigated and found there's no wrongdoing, I have text on my phone. Why would you cover for child abuse?
Myself. Is that what you're asking me to do?
I don't understand why, ma'am, Child Protective Service investigator would deny me the right to know who hit my child while investigating a child abuse report. And if you are denying to do that, is that criminal?
What you're asking me, and then call me back.
I want to know who hit my child.
I don't think that's what you want to know at all. I think you don't know what you want, actually. So write it down, think about it, and call me back.
Okay, is there a particular reason why you would leave me marinating and finding out who hit my child like multiple other parties in your Child Protective Service investigator?
I how to request records. You can read the interview.
I'm on the line with you. Why would you want me to request records and why are you refusing to tell me who hit her?
I can't tell you what the interview said. That's not the process. I'm not allowed to do that.
Okay, so you're the interviewer and you can't tell me what was in the report. I don't have rights, ma'am. I can't get records. They sabotage them. You would have to, a person that can get records or a person that has rights. I don't have rights.
I'm telling you, the child did not disclose anything.
I have text on my phone. That's what I reported to Child Protective Services. You can come see the text. I would not disclose it if multiple parties were covering up for my abuse. If I didn't feel safe and I'm witnessing all these strangers cover up for my mom and myself being violated, I wouldn't report it either. And then you're leaving with the person that gave you away because you had a meltdown, and you have to live there and know that if you don't say the right thing, you can get put out again and have to go to CPS.
In a face-to-face recorded interview, the child did not disclose anything.
Right, but I have text, ma'am. I have text, and as an investigator, I would like you to get to the bottom of who hit her. Did you ask her who hit her and why she would send me text?
So I can't ask a child who hit them if the child says no one hit them.
Well, I have text on my phone, which is evidence she got hit. I don't know if your investigative skills are up to par. Because the thing would have been, why would you send your mom text stating that you've been hit?
Okay, that's fine. I'll accept that. Yeah, I don't have to prove my investigative skills to you.
Well, I don't. If you're sabotaging a child abuse situation, I thought that was a crime. Yes.
I'm sorry about that. Okay. I apologize, but I don't recall what we were last discussing.
Yes, if I was asking you if you could assist me in making a report on why James Hastings made false statements. Can I finish?
No.
And then to find out if.
No. My answer is no.
Okay, you can't assist with that. Can you help with find out if I'm not my child custody rights weren't taken?
No, they weren't.
Okay, if my child custody rights weren't taken, so I need to call the police and have them give me access to my daughter? What do I need to do now?
There are still court orders in place, from my understanding. That doesn't mean just because your rights were not terminated does not mean that there are not court orders in place.
Okay, so my rights haven't been terminated, but there's court orders in place. What are the court orders? Because I don't know.
Miss Clark, I do not work for the court system. You'll have to request the legal documents yourself.
Okay, so you're supervised investigator for Child Protective Services, and I told you that multiple parties have tampered with evidence and committed crimes to hinder my child custody rights away, take my child custody rights away, and you're refusing any assistance to investigate and help me report that?
No, I didn't refuse any assistance. We actually, you reported it through our statewide intake because I don't take reports. So you did it through our statewide intake. It was
But you're the investigator that's assigned for all of the chaos that I reported, and you're not investigating it because, James, it could be easily proven that multiple parties have made false statements to hinder my child custody rights, which is a crime, and the police department has covered for it. So all you would have to do is a simple investigation, and you're the Child Protective Service investigator to see why so many parties are hindering my child custody rights and lying and slandering me, including the caseworker. So if you're a supervisor,
you know a lot about what I do in my position. You use the word simple. So the job is not actually that simple. Okay. It has been thoroughly completed.
Well, then what happened? What happened with James Hastings? How did he disappear? And why wasn't I granted an attorney when my child custody rights were taken away?
So you're asking me about past things.
I still don't have access to my child. Are you covering for it, ma'am? Or are you trying to? Because I thought Child Protective Services, when a parent was doing the report, was supposed to advocate and do different things, and I am not getting that. Did I get a caseworker? That caseworker, she didn't give me any education or any feedback on organizations to assist with my child custody rights being taken, especially out of corruption. I haven't given any numbers, any resources, nothing to aid, no attorney information, because police have intervened in me having an attorney. Multiple strange things has happened. Multiple places have denied me legal advocacy. You guys didn't give me any of that.
Or assistance on things that have happened in the past.
No, it's not in the past because I still don't have access to my child out of corruption. You still did not figure out who hit her, and you're a child abuse investigator.
Quite untruthful right now. And I won't tolerate that because you're slandering my current investigator and me, and I don't like it. I can help you, but I refuse if you're not going to be truthful.
What are you talking about? Are you gaslighting me?
Oh, I'm also... Stop using that word. You don't know what it means. I have tried to offer you assistance.
Okay, you are a child abuse investigator. You did not investigate who hit my child. I'm reporting a lot of corruption from multiple parties, and you're covering for it, which is criminal. And then, in turn, gaslighting and mistreating me because your behavior is unethical and inappropriate.
Okay.
You're leaving me stuck. They can't make up their mind if they're taking my child custody rights away or not. You're refusing to give me education on what has happened because they can't get the lie straight. Sometimes I have child custody rights, depending on how incriminating it is and how many things that people have realized they've done unethically to sabotage my rights as a parent at court. Then I have the rights. They can't make up their mind. So I have no clue. At first I went down to the 255th District Court. They told me it was exposed and it went back to my natural parental rights as the custodial parent. They told me that. Then I tried to report it to the police. They wouldn't investigate it for years that my child custody rights were being violated. Then it changed to they were taken away by Mary Murphy. Then I tried to find Mary Murphy and how they were taken away. No one could find Mary Murphy. So it depends on what day of the week it is if I have child custody rights. But regardless of whether I have the rights or not, I'm not unsure why an investigator would not find out why illegally my child custody rights are sabotaged and hindered. That's a crime. Why you're not concerned about if me being placed on supervised visits if my rights haven't been taken away. In addition to that, even on supervised visits, I still have no right to my child. They are not giving me access to talk to my child, communicate with her after she has been hit. I have no clue of what's going on, and I don't understand why, as an investigator, why you're not concerned about that. If you saw that my rights weren't taken away, why don't I have access to her? What are you doing to enforce and assist me in having access to my child as a supervisor? What do we go do now if my child custody rights are taken away and I cannot see her or communicate with her?